First up, an apology. There was a video yesterday, but because I'm an idiot and pressed the wrong buttons when I was scheduling it, it actually came out at 11 o'clock the night before. So we didn't miss a day yesterday, I promise. I'm just an idiot. But we're back today, and it'll be back to normal 6 o'clock episodes from now on, because I'm going to make sure I press the scheduling button at least 3 times. Hello and welcome to Season 16, Episode 9 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we've got the second leg of our Champions League first knockout round tie against Galatasaray and a Premier League game at home to Tottenham. Before we get into that, we'll have a look at the last month or so since you were last with me. It's fair to say it's been a good month. Since that Champions League game and winning the Capital One Cup, obviously, we've won all 4 of our Premier League games, and they have been massive Premier League games as well. If we ignore Cardiff, which I think that's fair. We'll ignore Cardiff. So we beat Man United 4-1 at home in the league, but then we also beat our 2 closest rivals in the Premier League. These teams were 2nd and 3rd, with Chelsea hovering around in 4th place. And we beat Aston Villa 2-1 at home and Everton 2-1 away, which means we are in a very, very strong position in the league now with 8 games to go. We are 15 points clear at the top of the table. Chelsea still have a game in hand, but even if they win it, they're going to be 13 points behind us. I'd like to think that's not enough time to catch us up now. Obviously, beating Villa and Everton was massive. I think we do still need to play Chelsea. Yeah, right towards the end of the season, we play Chelsea. So we need to keep the form up. We don't want to be going into that Chelsea game with there being any chance of them being able to catch us. But how sweet would it be to win the title at Stamford Bridge? Although, obviously, with the points gap we've got, we might even win it against Ipswich. Or even sooner. That would be awesome. I'm a little bit miffed that we don't have the top goal scorer in the Premier League, or anywhere near, really. João Roberto's in 4th place on only 19 goals. To be fair, though, it's 19 goals in 20 appearances. It's a ridiculous goals per games ratio. Still not quite up there with Carles at Chelsea. But luckily, he's not played many games this season because he's been injured a lot, which kind of explains why they've dropped down the leagues a little bit. João Roberto is injured at the moment, and we are kind of in the midst of a bit of an injury crisis. We've lost João Roberto, who is out for a little while. How long is he out for now? Where is he? So João Roberto is out for another 2 to 4 weeks. Ortega is now injured as well. He's out for 4 to 5 weeks. So we're going into a really important month towards the end of this season with only Wagner. He's our only recognised striker. We've played Gilberto and Mputu up front a little bit just because they can both play there. But pretty much he is our main man all of a sudden. I mean, it's not a complete disaster. He has he's won Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues with Manchester City before. He's been at the club 10 seasons now. He's in line for a testimonial. So it's responsible shoulders for us to leave this on. It is a little bit of a shame to get those injuries when we've got them, though. And obviously piling that on top of the fact that Lazarov is out for the season. He broke his ankle. Lewis Bradford is injured as well. Can't remember what he did. Shin splints. There you go. He's out for another month or so. So, you know, injuries are plenty. Hopefully, we've done enough to win the Premier League regardless. What it does mean is the Champions League is looking a bit iffy because we're going to go into this game today against Galatasaray, plus if we manage to continue any of the following games, pretty much without either of our 2 top strikers until the semi-finals, second leg-ish. So we've got to get that far without them, which is going to be tricky. So this is the team that we're playing today against Galatasaray. It's as strong as we can do in the circumstances. As you can see, we're scraping the barrel a little bit and have some youngsters on the bench. Young Steve Bruce, 16-year-old striker. He's played 1 Premier League game for us now. And we've also got Matty Oliver, who's another 16-year-old striker. This is what we're resorting to. Everyone else is normal sort of first-team players, but striker-wise, we really don't have a lot. So in goal, we've got Donnarumma. At the back, it's Mateza, Martelli, Murat and Osborne, with Jans and Koulibaly holding the midfield, and Putu, Gilberto and Ayrton in front of them, and then Wagner, whatever it might be, up front. We're just going to call him Steven, or Steve. Steve is up front for us. Just because hopefully he's going to score a hat-trick today, and I don't want to keep getting his name wrong. So, we're giving a squad number out. Matty Oliver, there you go, number 34. So massively, massively important game. It's 1-1 from the first leg, which you might remember from a couple of episodes ago. Was it? It might even have been last episode. I'm losing track. We're 16 seasons in. I don't know what's going on at this point. Apparently, the game doesn't want to start. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. So, yeah, 1-1. We've got that all-important away goal. So, priority, win the game. But it would also be good to win the game without conceding a goal. Ideally, we'd like sort of 3 goals in the first half so that we don't have to worry anymore. And we can maybe take Steve off and not risk yet another injury to a striker, because that would be a complete disaster and would potentially even put the Premier League in doubt. If we had to go into the last 8 games without a striker. And anyone who's got any strikerless tactics they want to let me know about in the comments. I can't believe it's getting to this. But, I mean, Gilberto and Mputu can both play there. It's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal, is it? When you're trying to push for a... I mean, we've already won the double. Remember that. We've got the big one, the Community Shield and Capital One Cup double. But we'd like to add a couple more trophies to that. And Ayrton is in, and we're 1-0 up. And I don't remember that being Ayrton's usual hairstyle. So it might well be. I mean, he's scored about 400 goals this season. You'd think I'd know his hairstyle by now. I don't think that's normally it. He's gone for the sort of sweeping parting, going over his forehead a little bit. It's a look that I would never be able to pull off, because this bit never lays flat. There you go. Kev hair fact. What did Merteza do there? He sort of jumped over the ball, I think. Whatever happened, he put in a nice cross for Ayrton. Ayrton just tucked it away and then giving it a bit of it. Right, calm down, lads. You know, we've got this. We know what we're doing. Oh, Marat could have made it 2-0, and that would have been a massive goal. Because obviously at the moment we're still in the danger of all Galatasaray need is a goal, and it's level, and our away goal's cancelled out as well. So we've always got the danger if they score 2, that's a disaster. We've just got to not concede a goal at this point. If we just don't concede from here on in, obviously we're through to the next round, which is at the quarter-final. I don't really know how the Champions League works. I find it weird that we're still in the first knockout round and the season's nearly over. They really cram these games in at the end of the season. I don't really get why that is. I assume that's how it works in real life. Unbelievably, Posh rarely get there, so it's not something I tend to concern myself with. But it does seem a little bit odd to really smush all the games up at the end of the season, when you'd think the teams who were challenging in the Champions League had other stuff to worry about in their leagues as well. It's just selfish, UEFA. Right, 1-0 at half-time. We just need to keep this up. We don't want to let them in at all. I mean, I keep going on about how weakened we are up front. Obviously, we are weakened at the back as well. Losing Lazarov has meant Ron Osborne is having to play out at right back. So we're weaker at right back because Osborne's not a natural there. But it also weakens us in the centre of defence as well, because it means Martelli has to come into the side. And we spent 60-odd million pounds in the summer to try and not have to play Martelli. Ayrton's in again. 18 goals now this season from the right wing. He has had an incredible season. He won the Brazilian Overseas Player of the Year. And he really has had a good season. I look back occasionally at the videos from when I first arrived at Man City, and that first 3 or 4 months when I was convinced I couldn't play Ayrton and Gilberto in the same team. What a fool I was. And you all told me in the comments as well. It's not as if no one figured it out before me. You all knew. 3-0. There you go. That's got to be it now. There's surely no coming back from this for Galatasaray. And Steve gets the 3rd. What's that, his 9th goal of the season? Considering he's very much 3rd choice now, to be in with a shout at getting into double figures shows that he's still a top striker. I think any other club in the world, he'd be playing more games than he is for us, apart possibly from Chelsea. So, you know, can't look at the fullbacks again, crosses, FM16, you know how it is. Right, let's make some substitutions. We don't want any more injuries. Wilkes is going to come for Koulibaly. And we're just going to swap those 2 over and have Wilkes as the deep line playmaker. So we don't really have much else we can do. We'll bring on Van Inzerillen on for Mputu. I should probably take off Steve. I might even bring on Steve Bruce. Not that one. Stick him up front. Imagine if it was that one, though. A fat old man up front for us. That would be brilliant. I'm going to bring him on anyway. I want Steve Bruce to become a Manchester City superstar, because it's just going to amuse me for the next 15 seasons being able to say, not that one. at least 4 or 5 times an episode. It will keep me, you lot will all unsubscribe, but it will make me chuckle every time I do it. Right, I think this is job done. We're into the next round of the Champions League. I have no idea who we're likely to play. I don't. Does the draw work that way? I know it does in the Europa League. We'd know who we were going on to, but I don't think, does the Champions League draw work that way? If it does, I wasn't paying attention. Van Inzerelsen's supposed to be playing on the left wing. He's way over on the right and started that move. Gilberto's in, 23rd goal of the season. Mateza has a hat-trick of assists from left back. And I think it's safe to say that was a better result than I was expecting in the circumstances. And we've just ripped them apart with our crossing, which, you know, it's not an exploit tactic. You know, we've figured this out for ourselves as we've gone along. But it sure does work with a cross, doesn't it? Right. Does it tell us who we're playing in the next game? Oh, no. There you go. Quarter-final draw. We'll come up before the Tottenham game. So let's go and play Tottenham, who are in the relegation zone at the moment, I might add. We'll go and play them and hopefully extend our lead at the top of the league table. Well, a couple of interesting snippets. 3, in fact. 1, we've got Valencia in the next round of the Champions League. That's winnable. 2, Tottenham have just beaten Chelsea 6-3 in the league, which is handy. Although it means they're in quite good form. They're out the relegation zone now too. And 3, Aston Villa were only able to draw earlier on today. So, what all of that means combined is that if we win, we go 16 points clear at the top of the Premier League with 7 games to go, which will be a nice strong position to be in. We've not made any changes from the team that played Galatasaray, mainly because we don't have anyone to bring in. The only change we've got is on the bench, because Steve Bruce, not that one, has picked up a bit of an injury, so we've had to bring in another nobody striker to come onto the bench in his place. Yes, it's a pleasing moment. Yeah. Oh, we're the last English team in the Champions League at the quarter-final stage as well. That's pathetic, England. Chelsea really letting the side down this season. I'm not going to blame too much of it on, I think it's Newcastle and Villa, who were the other 2 teams in there. No one expected them to get any further than they did. But Chelsea, you're a disappointment, and you've been a disappointment all season long. If you go and win the Premier League now, Chelsea, I'm going to be gutted. Right, come on. Why aren't we winning this game yet? Everton has just scored an absolute screamer. He heard me. That's his 19th goal of the season. This man is in the form of his life. That is ridiculous. Let's have a look at it in 3D, because I think it may have been a bit of a beauty. So he nods it down to Osborne. Osborne hits it back. Ayrton's backtracking. No backlift on that at all. He's running backwards as he hits that and just wallops it into the back of the net. He is just in amazing form. We don't need strikers when our attacking midfielders are playing the way these 3 are, particularly Ayrton and Gilberto. It is very tempting to just not bother with a striker, but I guess he needs to be there, pushing on as they advance forward to just open up the spaces for those 3 to just have as much fun as they are behind him. I mean, they're all over the place. Look, and Putu's come in field. Oh, Ayrton's missed out there. I'm bigging him up massively, and he goes and makes a mistake. But look how deep he's dropping. Gilberto out on the right wing now. He's going to cross into Steve. Steve makes it 2-0. I think we're going to win the Premier League. Ooh, this is getting exciting. 2-0 up, 26 minutes on the clock. And look, the midfield are just rotating around beautifully. They are... Ooh. This team, it's the best any team of mine have played in the 16 seasons we've had on this save so far. What is wrong with Gilberto? A bruised head. You can carry on with a bruised head. What's wrong with you? It's not even bleeding. These Brazilians, eh? No stamina. I will probably take him off at half-time just because we can't risk him actually having a proper injury. He's probably got a concussion or something. He'll be out for the rest of the season. Right, Osborne. Cross comes in. Steve is there. It's 3-0. This is probably why we still need to play with a striker. I mean, look at, he's got proper manly hair. It's quite similar to my haircut. Not that I'm deliberately describing myself as manly, but I won't be offended if that's how you all interpret it. 3-0 up, eh? Well, I think we probably can take Gilberto off now. Just give him a little bit of a rest. Wilkes can tuck in behind Steve if he needs to. So, in fact, first order of business. Set nickname. Steve. There we go. Right, Gilberto is going to come off. Wilkes is going to come on and just play in that little hole there. We're 3-0 up. We don't need to risk Gilberto any more than necessary. And Wilkes really has been struggling for game time this season. He's had picked up a couple of different injuries at quite important points. That has just meant he's missed out on loads of game time. Considering he was my big money sort of £40 million transfer when I first arrived at City, him and Ron Osborne, best part of 100 million between the two of them. Wilkes is really struggling to establish himself in this side this season anyway. He was a regular last year. He's still a regular for England. But this City team have kind of passed him by a little bit because he spent too much time out injured when we've been pushing on and becoming a much better side than we were this time last year. Right, I feel another substitution coming on. I think it might be... Oh, look at that save from Donnarumma. Worryingly, Real Madrid are interested in him, and I don't know if we're going to be able to keep him because English football is... I mean, we've seen from the few England games we've played and the fact that we're the only team left in the Champions League, English football is just rubbish. So I guess if Real Madrid come in for him, even if we win the league, he's probably going to want to go. Real Madrid haven't lost a game in 2 years. You know, they're on the longest unbeaten run in Spanish football history. They're still in the. They're probably going to win the Champions League. Let's face it. Why wouldn't he want to go there? Our only hope of keeping him, I guess, is to beat Real Madrid in the final of the Champions League. But to do that, we need our strikers back because as much fun as Steve is having against Premier League relegation battlers, I just don't see him doing it against Real Madrid. Right. They're in here. Oh, what a tackle from Ron Osborne. Right, time for another substitution. I'm tempted to take Steve off just to protect him. But he's on a hat-trick. That's just mean. It might be the last hat-trick of his career. Plus, Steve Bruce, not that one, isn't on the bench. So we'll bring Umputu on. Take Umputu off. Bring Van Inzerellen on just because it's the easy substitution to make. Because it's pretty much the only one we've got left. It does mean that Steve is now the only striker, or the only person who can play up front still on the pitch. Remco Smith. He can come on for Koulibaly. That will be our final change. And barring anything ridiculous happening, we're 16 points clear at the top of the Premier League with 7 games left. What's that? 5? So we could actually wrap this. If we win our next 3... If we win our next 2 games, we win the Premier League. Is that right? Steve's got his hat-trick. Why doesn't it say Steve on there? What's that all about? Look, it says Steve there. It's not got Steve under his shirt, though, has it? I imagine he'll have his shirts reprinted for the next match. It's probably because we gave him the nickname partway through the game. But that's quite an impressive finish. I'll let him have that. So 2 games. Let me know if my maths is right in the comments, because I might need to hurry forward the next episode, because you've got to be watching when we win the Premier League, surely. Right, Wilkes, we're just tapping the ball around here now. We're not letting Spurs have a kick. Osborne, whip the cross in, Ron. Oh, okay, give it to Smith. Back out to Osborne again. This time, whip it in. Steve's there, doesn't quite make it. Ron, have another go. Not enough time, but 4-0. I'm happy with that. That will do. So, let's just double check my maths. I suppose that would have been the opportunity to do it when the Premier League table was on the screen. Right, let's have a look on here. So, yeah, that's right. If we win the next 2 games, we win the Premier League. Who are our next 2 games? Let's have a look. So, I guess that means we've got to be back for Bournemouth and Valencia. Well, depending on how West Ham goes. If we beat West Ham, we'll do Bournemouth, Valencia. If we don't beat West Ham, we'll do Valencia, Forest. And then probably Valencia, Ipswich. And then we'll see how we are. I'd like to have the Chelsea game on if things are still to play for them. But I'd like to think we'll be switching the focus of the episodes towards the Champions League as we get to this point. That'd be nice. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you pop a like on there. Subscribe to the channel as well, so you don't miss out on us winning a Premier League for the first time. And thank you very much for watching.